a way of celebrating Litha is connecting with this idea of things have come to fruition. They're in full fruit. Things are obvious. They're out there. Everything's bright. And so there's this idea of like success. Like, will you celebrate your successes? Will you celebrate the good things that you've experienced? Your bounty, like, are you going to own it? Are you going to celebrate it? And
Welcome to the Feminine Alchemy Podcast, where we explore the truth about the feminine, the peaceful, the wild, and the visceral. I'm your host, J.N. Behringer, joined by my co-hosts, Julie Dean Richards and Kayelee Rose. Each week, we explore the deep mysteries of the feminine and help listeners apply them to their daily lives in a practical way. Join us to unlock the hidden wisdoms your soul has been waiting for. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Feminine Alchemy. I'm Jayanne, and we've got Julie Jean Richards and Kayelee Rose here. Say hi, ladies.
Hello.
hey, everyone.
Today is, once again, as always, a very special episode. All the episodes are special, but today is the first time we've ever talked about this topic, which is called Litha. It's another Wheel of the Year episode, guys. We're going to talk about snacks. You excited?
So excited.
But of course, we have to have our get to know you question. I can't wait to hear the answer to this question from you guys. What do you guys like to do in the summer? I'm excited because summer is like the best, and especially like the best kid time where you just kind of like do whatever you want, but also like fun stuff. You're not just like staring at a wall. But what is your favorite summer stuff to do, whether it's now or in the past?
Well, I would love to hear what you love to do, Jayanne, because it's so magical for you.
I go first. Thanks. Well, of course, pool time. Like, I grew up going to the pool. We lived like a mile from the public pool. And so every summer I would just me and my brother would walk to the pool. And then eventually we like rode bikes, but we would just spend like 2-3 hours at the pool all day long. And we'd go home and we'd watch TV. My other favorite thing to do is play in the dirt.
Yes, dirt.
Like, especially after it's been dry. And you can see if like it rained a lot and there was like a big mudslide in my yard, and then it would dry up and crack, and then it would be fully cracked, and then I could just like smear it around and it would become like total dust. And I live in Virginia. I grew up in Virginia, and we're known for our red clay. Like, it's just clay dirt. It is not like dirt. It is just clay. Yeah, and I would like to play in it. I would make like different patterns in it, and I would pick it up, and I just like to play in the, like, we had a sandbox, but I played in the dirt. Or I would like lay there in the sun and I would have my eyes closed and I would look over my arm. This is like the dumbest stuff to do in the summer. Most people are like, I used to play baseball. I'm like, that sounds boring. I would look at my arm and I look at one eye and look at the other eye and be like, one is pink and one is blue. Like, these are the things that I noticed. I like gardening. That's what I do now. I garden. I grow stuff. So those are my things.
All right, I'll go next. So, as you listeners may or may not know, depending on how long you've been listening, we homeschool our kids. And so summer is not this time of like, oh, now the kids are around. Like, well, it is, but it's normal. It's normal. The kids are always around. But in the summer, we spend a lot more time outside. We love our backyard. One of my favorite things to do is to like go lay out in our hammock and listen to the birds and the breeze. And my kids will go make a bunch of mud. We love mud and dirt at our house too. And it's so fun to watch them just get completely covered in mud. And I'll sometimes go like, I don't love getting covered in mud, but I'll totally go walk in the mud because it feels kind of cool squishing between my toes. And I don't know, like, growing up, summertime was majorly a time of going to visit family that lived far away. We would go to California to visit my grandparents for a month or more. So in my mind, just summer is family time. Like, you just spend as much time together as possible and as much time outside as possible. And now in my own family that I've created as an adult, we'll go to my husband's family has a cabin. that's in the semi-wilderness. It's actually pretty in the wilderness, and we'll go, and it is so much fun to just be out in nature and slow down. Like, we don't really do a lot. Like, I don't know, maybe some people would find it boring, but like we just hang out and we talk and we sit around the campfire and we go for walks, and that's about all we do while we're there. But it's just so relaxing, and I don't know, it reconnects us to this rhythm that's so easy to get disconnected from in day-to-day life in the modern world.
I love that. I love all of what the two of you said, and I totally agree. I think that, summertime is a time to be with family, it's time to be together, it's time to play in dirt. For me, growing up in California, summer was the swimming time. It's time to swim, baby. Get in the pool, be like a fish. I remember I used to like live in my swimsuit, like always in my swimsuit, jumping in the pool, coming back. And like we never had a pool growing up. So we used our hose a lot and we would play games with the hose, right? Like you do jump rope, but with the hose, and like you do running through the sprinkler and you do running under the waterfall with the hose. But we went to tons of friends' houses who did have pools, and we would just like hang out there, a ton of kids just playing the pool, playing sharks and minnows or colors or whatever. And that was really fun for me. So summer is a really lovely time to be with water. And also, I always have loved it because summer to me has always felt like freedom. Like, and my birthday's in the summer. We were just talking about this. My birthday's the 4th of July. So, like, I love the summer because it's my birthday and it's freedom for me. And it's all about freedom, but like having the ability to play and do nothing and like run around. So, that's what I love about the summer.
So fun. We get to listen to each other about our childhood experiences and our current day. Like, this is part of my favorite part of the whole thing, is that we're not just giving out information. We're just talking about our lives. So good. So we're talking about Litha today, which is also known as the summer solstice. When we think of celebrating any of these holidays of the wheel of the year, we're almost always relating our experiences to the sun and the sunlight. And this is the granddaddy of them all, right? The most sun. So, who wants to start off with a general overview of how Litha works and what it's for and what we do?
I feel like I always do this part. So if you want to do this part, Kayelee, you're welcome to do this part.
No, go for it. You do such a good job.
You really do.
Thank you. Well, Litha, exactly like Jan said, right? Litha is the summer solstice. So it's when the sun is the highest in the sky. It's the longest day of the year. So we talked about Yule, shortest day of the year. Litha, longest day of the year. In some traditions, particularly Celtic traditions, this is the time, these two solstices are when there's a battle between light and darkness. And they always talk about this as being like the battle between the Oak King and the Holly King. And in the winter, the Oak King wins, and then we start getting the sun back. And in the summer, the Holly King wins, and we start getting some darkness coming back. And so at this time, we're at peak brightness. We've got a lot of sun, but after this day, it will start getting darker and darker sooner and sooner again. And we start kind of turning towards that inward piece of ourselves again and talking about a lot of those inward things. But this is a time while the sun is out and it's bright and it's at its peak to be outward. This is a time for full on masculine energy. This is a really lovely time to like do stuff and do fun things. I did want to point out about Litha, which we don't often talk about, which is that lots of times, like in ancient Rome, this was Juno's holiday, which is kind of fun. It was the festival for Juno, which is about marriage and partnership, which is kind of perfect because we talked about Beltane last time, which is the sacred marriage between the god and the goddess. And during Litha, this is like a time where humans get to get married. They get to have their time to have this lovely partnership. There's a lot of historical like rites and wonderful things around getting married in June. That's why we're like, you're a bride. If you're married in June, you're a bride all your life. That's like something we say because everyone gets married in June, things like that. Other things about Litha is, again, like we talked about, this is really about the sun. So this is one of the last of the fire festival. It is the last fire festival. This is the last fire festival. So this is the brightest, the burning. We're talking about the sun. We're feeling the sun. And so why do we celebrate it? Well, we celebrate it, like I said, because the light is at the peak. It's a reminder, right, of this is when the balance is tipping. This is when the light is at its brightest, and then it starts tipping the other way. And also, this is a time traditionally people feel that these holidays, when like the solstices and the equinoxes, are the time when the veil is thin. So this is another the veil is thin time, but we don't talk about that a lot with this one because it's such an outward holiday. It's so bright, it's like burning, and so that's what we're really talking about today, is that bright burning part.
So fun. So much fun. So much fun. Beltane is juicy, and so the Litha is just bright. Right. I love it. So, what are some good rituals or things that you can do? We did talk about a little bit about the story between the Holly King and the Oak King. What do we do to even celebrate? What is
Well, one thing that comes to mind for me as like a way of celebrating Litha is connecting with this idea of things have come to fruition. They're in full fruit. Things are obvious. They're out there. Everything's bright. And so there's this idea of like success. Like, will you celebrate your successes? Will you celebrate the good things that you've experienced? Your bounty, like, are you going to own it? Are you going to celebrate it? And so for me, it's just this like looking back at the past year from Litha to Litha and just recognizing, oh, yeah, I did that thing. Oh, yeah, I experienced this growth. Oh, yeah, this wonderful thing came into my life. And you can write it down, you can verbalize it, you can do both, you can create, I don't know, a collage of plants that you found growing outside that symbolizes it. Just this idea of celebrate your wins, celebrate the good things, because that's a very Litha thing to do in my mind.
Yeah, I love that. I love this idea of successes. It's your time to shine. That's what kept coming to mind for me, right? Like, this is your time to shine. You get to be shiny and bright, and it's great. And so, lots of things that we do around this holiday are all surrounded by fire and the sun. So we often do bonfires. So it's a wonderful, wonderful way to celebrate is let's do a bonfire. I mean, roast s'mores. You guys are going to do that anyway. So why not make it into a holiday tradition, right? You could even do, make them into sun s'mores, right? And like you could cut your marshmallows to look like suns, or like the crackers to look like suns, or the chocolate, and talk about, what do we do when we shine, that it's okay to shine, and like allowing yourself to shine. And you could even have your children, if you did this bonfire, this is what I do with my kids, is like I let them, they get to brag about themselves, right? They get to say like one good thing they did, successes they've had, things that they're good at during this bonfire activity. So you can do a number of things with those. You can also, with this bonfire, if you can't do a bonfire, you could do like a smaller fire, you could do a candle, that all works as well. You could also just go out into the sun to do any of these things. But even just asking and writing down, like, what are your gifts? What are things that you're good at? What are your gifts? And making something around that. Other things you could do is flower crowns. The flower crowns are very in vogue for this one, these fire festivals, and especially these festivals in the summer and the spring. We love to celebrate the flowers. There's always feasting, we always love a feast for a Sabbath like this one. You, as far as like personal work that you could do as well, you could do like embodiment practices or confidence practices, but particularly around your solar plexus. That's a really big one that's activated right now. That chakra is really activated. So working on the solar plexus. And then any kind of like seeing far, the sun helps us to be able to see things. And so this is a good time to make some decisions. It's a good time to like do some divining if you want to do that. And we talked about this before, but two things. One, I'm like so stoked about this. Litha is often the time of rites of passage. So performing rites of passage for children, for adults, and it's a time to do hand fasting ceremonies. This one and Lammas. Lammas is a big hand fasting ceremony thing, but yeah, this is a time to do renewal of your marriage and things like that. So Yay, which maybe we could talk about it more if we want to later. But what do you think, Jan? Any ideas of what you would like to do on Litha?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity on the actual solstice to be in a circle of women, and we were setting intentions for the next 3 to 5 years, and we were kind of like doing such really cool work. And because we're at that peak sunlight, again, we're at that space where we can kind of look over the mountains, so to speak, of the future in a sense. And so doing like special, sacred, especially in community work, of like what's going on, what are our tendencies, and what is coming for the future, and what do we want to have happen. And so we did this really cool thing where everybody got to like read each other's energy after we talked about what we wanted. It was really great. So being in circle, and I don't think we talk about this enough at these Wheel of the Year episodes, but being in circle, being in groups has typically been the way to celebrate them. Community, like what is the phrase, like where two or more get gathered, like right, like those kinds of things, the power of eight, like getting together makes a difference in what you're calling in, because it's just like any electrical current, any magnetic current is going to be stronger as you have more units. So this is a really powerful time because the magnetism and fire are very connected. So doing any kind of like intentional work is going to do a lot, like a lot of reality coming in, a lot of stuff coming in. So anyhow, that's my like ethereal stuff. But practically speaking, yeah, just celebrating the fire, celebrating the sunlight. It's all good stuff. It's all good stuff.
I was also going to say this is a great time, and these summer festivals are like this. This Lammas and Mabon are all about gratitude too. We're giving gratitude because we made it to the sun, right? Like we made it to this time where we can harvest herbs and we have bounty again. And so like a lot doing some kind of practice around gratitude, and blessings each other is really great. And even like looking at your harvest so far is lovely. Like, especially herbs. A lot of herbs are ready to be gathered at this time. So, gathering some herbs can be great, or berries, because they're all in season, can be great little practices you can do for Litha.
I always think of the summer as being like fistfuls of raspberries, which you cannot sustainably purchase with money. Like it would be so expensive. You spend like $20-$40 on like one fistful of raspberries. But if you have a raspberry plant and it's producing, oh my gosh, you get like buckets of raspberries and they're delightful. So with that vein, what are some snacks that we want to be having with our Litha celebrations? And we talked about sun-shaped sun s'mores. What is that? Sun s'mores. I made up a new word.
I
What else
actually
do we
want to go
got?
back to those s'mores really quick because I got really
Yeah.
excited when Julie brought up that idea. Because what popped into my head was using golden Oreos instead of graham
Mm,
crackers. And I was like, oh my gosh, we've got to do that now.
that sounds really good. It sounds
Doesn't
really
it?
good.
Sounds fantastic.
Well, we talked a little bit about this as far as like berries are really in season, right? So, and so are herbs. So, like we can pick, mint is starting to come in, and basil, and all those really yummy things are going to be part of it. But of course, with all of the Wheel of the Year, we're always going to be following the seasons, right? So, we're always going to be looking at what is in season. And of course, with all of these festivals, bread is such a big deal because it was such a staple during these times and for these cultures. So, like sun shaped breads are really great. Spiral or round loaves can be really lovely. You can do cornbread because it's yellow, right? Or honey oat bread because it's also that yellow golden kind of bread. You can do scones. And both lavender and lemon. Lemon's pretty much like in season all year. So the lemon is like that yellow, bright golden, right? That's what we're looking for. And lavender's in season. So you can do like lavender lemonade, which is delightful, and and lemon scones. You can do herb focaccia bread with rosemary, thyme, and basil. You can do like grain salads because some of those like quinoa's coming in, and farro, like those with fresh veggies, because a lot of the veggies are starting to come in, right? Tomatoes are starting to ripen, so you can make a bunch of those. Like a salsa is a great idea for this. Further into the summer, there's more salsa stuff, but you can do like a light salsa. You can do lots of fruits, strawberries. This is the peaked season for strawberries. Strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, cherries, apricots, peaches, and plums. Oh my goodness. What else can we do? Melons, melons and grapes and figs. And then, of course, along with tomatoes, we've also got cucumbers, bell peppers, corn, all coming in. And if for your greens, you still have good arugula. I love arugula. I love it so much. Arugula and, kale is coming up. You've got a lot of those fresh herbs. So, and then of course, the dairy is always going to be huge with these because dairy you can have all year long. That's why dairy will always be part of the wheel of the year. So, herbed goat cheeses, feta, you can do a cheese board, you could do yogurt based dips, you can do like honey cakes, lemon bars, lavender shortbread, a berry cobbler. You can even do popsicles with all the fresh fruit, make your own popsicles. That would be great. And then, as far as drinks, a sun tea is really great for this time. You can make sun tea. You can make citrus water, which we just had. I just had citrus water yesterday. It was really lovely. And then if you like mead, this is the time. This is a mead or a honey wine time. And then herbal lemonades and, teas are always going to be good for this season. So a lot of outdoor, right? And we do this anyway because we're already grilling a lot. Like people are grilling in the summer, they're cooking outside. So that's like a great way to like cook all the stuff is to grill it. So as you can see, lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, less on the meat now because we're in the summer. We save up a lot more of our meat for the winter time because in the summer, more of the veggies are out there and you can eat more of the fruits and vegetables at this time. That doesn't mean we exclude meat. You could still have a lovely lamb. You could still have beef and chicken and everything with this. You just like adding that in. But I just wanted to note that part of the reason that the meat is less is because we eat less meat in the summer because all the vegetables are around and the grains are around. And then in the winter, we eat more meat because there's less of the fresh stuff.
Sounds so good. I love it. Yummy. I grow this one thing called mustard spinach. It's really good. I like it. The kids don't like it, but I like it because it doesn't bolt. It's easy to grow. I just threw seeds in a bucket and it's huge leaves, like similar to what is that stuff called? Collards. So it's that size of leaf, and then you just cut it and it grows back. You cut it and it grows back. Arugula is delightful too.
Any ideas you had, Kayelee? Did that spark any ideas of food for you?
Just like honey keeps coming up as like, okay, that's significant. Like not just because it tends to be golden colored, but that's a big part of it. But like the bees being out and about, all the flowers and everything, all the pollination that is happening. And then my mind also goes to like my husband becomes the like barbecue master, like gotta invite people to our house all the time for barbecues. And like just this gathering that happens because it's so much easier to gather a large group of people outside than inside unless you have access to a space that's really big. And so there's kind of this blurring between what's living space and what's outdoor space, at least for us in the summer. And it's like, well, it's all living space now. Like we live outside and also inside.
I love it. What are you guys thinking about doing this year? Now that we've talked about all these different things, we're gonna make Oreo based s'mores. We're gonna do some lavender lemonade. We're gonna have lots of berries and fresh fruits and vegetables and bread and cake. We didn't even talk about cake. Light, fluffy, bright cakes and mead.
Like strawberry shortcake.
Strawberry shortcake. Yes, this is the time of year for strawberry shortcake. Absolutely. What are some things that are coming up?
It would be super fun to have like a pineapple upside down cake during this time too. Because it's circular in shape and it's bright yellow. That's like such a good one. Kayelee and I will be together for this holiday. I'm like so stoked about it. I don't know. We haven't planned what we're going to do exactly for it. But I'm sure we'll have some kind of fire. That's always appropriate. We'll probably do her s'mores idea, and we'll probably have a big feast and let the kids tell us what they're good at. And at least that's what I do every year, letting them do that. Maybe we can let them run around and dance. Dancing is a really big one for this one too. Like, it's time to like be joyful and dance and community. I don't know. Do you have other ideas for that, Kayelee? I also want to talk about some of the correspondences too.
No, I love everything that you said. And like, I think it's funny, like, our husbands are going to be gone over the solstice. So it's just going to be Julie and me and all of our kids. And it's just like, okay, the guys are going to be off having their like very masculine guy time out in the wilderness for this celebration, which is kind of cool. And then we'll be home just like, I don't know, eating really yummy food and having a party. But this isn't like specific to Litha, but it's related. My wedding anniversary is actually in June 9th. And my husband and I will have been married 13 years. And 13 is such a significant number for the feminine in so many ways. And so I'm like plotting in the back of my mind, like, oh, maybe we could do like a handfast, like renewal thing once Lige, my husband, is back or before he leaves. So Julie and I have some planning of festivities to do, I think, while she's here.
June 13th is a Friday this year, so it's Friday the 13th. You could do it that day.
Oh, that's awesome, because you know what? My husband proposed to me on January the 13th, which was a Friday the 13th. Like, I've always loved Friday the 13th.
Magical day. I don't care.
It is magical.
It is actually magical. Hey friends, it's Jayan here. If you have been feeling really stressed out about the world lately, you are not alone. There's been enough crazy and fear flying around the internet that even I've been knocked off my rocker sometimes. But it's times like these that I'm really grateful for the tools I have to regulate my nervous system. I developed these tools for myself when I was going through the thick of it. My babies were young and I had a ton of repressed anger. And these tools helped me through other stressful times, including negotiating my own divorce, having difficult money conversations, and of course, the whole COVID experience. And I've put all these tools in a method I call the authentic self-care method. This is different than other self-care programs because it is a framework for you to find your special sauce when it comes to self-care. And let me tell you a secret. Step 1 is not take a bath, get a haircut, or go to the gym. Step 1 is regulate your nervous system. And that's exactly what we do inside the 3-in-1 membership. This powerful program includes focused journals and meditations you can do in just a few minutes, like the fight or flight session, the hippocampus session, which rewrites your ability to see new possibilities, and the vagus nerve session, which helps you regulate your whole body in a crisis. Using these tools, members have reported feeling more empowered, more expansive, and many experience relief from actual physical pain, all for less than $2 a day. So join the 3-in-1 membership now so you can learn these tools today. The world is not going to become less crazy. The only thing you can control is how you respond to it. The 3-in-1 membership will help you do that, so click the link in the show notes to enroll today. So,
what about you, Jane?
If someone's going to make, how about me? What am I going to do? Yeah. I have no idea. Oh, I know what I'm doing that day. I'm probably involved in a dart tournament, so that's totally different. Yeah, thing. But probably, I mean, I eat seasonally the best I can. I grow from my garden, and so I just end up doing things like this, and I bake bread like all the time. I don't prefer to buy sandwich bread if I can help it, unless I'm lazy. But like homemade bread beats the pants out of grocery store bread, like the end. It's so good. So I usually make 2 loaves a week and eat half a loaf in a day. Whatever. I will probably be doing that as well, but intentionally, I don't know, because it's always a challenge for me with having kids with different parents and playing air traffic controller. I have to kind of let go of the hard and fast rules around a lot of holidays. I think that's probably why I bring it in on a daily basis, because most my kids are mostly not here with me during the entirety of the summer. So but they will be here with me on that specific day. So I will have to come up with something. That is not a commonality for me. So I just kind of throw it out of my mind. Light a candle, eat a
Hey,
steak.
there's nothing wrong about that. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's like perfect if you can't celebrate on just for everybody. Like it's okay if you can't celebrate on Litha, like on the exact day, you know. It's totally okay to like take your time. And also you don't have to do big things too. Like none of the things me and Kayelee are doing are really fancy. You know, it's not I mean, you know, like this stuff doesn't have to be fancy. It can be super like low key, or it can be as fancy as you want, you know? It could be you like dancing in your kitchen for a couple minutes,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and in like enjoying that. I will say during this time before this, because it talked about rites of passages, I'm going to do my son's first rite of passage during this time. It won't be on Litha, but it's going to be during this time, which will be really cool to have. So it's a great time to celebrate, you know, those accomplishments, which is what Litha is good for, like celebrating your accomplishment, celebrating the transition between as your kids grow up, which is really what a rite of passage is celebrating or acknowledging the transitions in our lives. So if you have something like that, it's a good time to do that as well.
So good. If someone was wanting to do an altar in celebration of Litha, what do you think would be some good stuff to put on that altar?
Well, like we were talking about, stuff that reminds you of the sun and shining, stuff that reminds you of your accomplishments. But if we want to go down to things that people usually put on their altars for this, if you're looking for a crystal or stone to put on your altar, citrine is the big one for this holiday because it's about abundance and confidence. But those red and yellow stones, so like carnelian is another really great one. Sunstone, like the sunstone's all about joy. There's one that in the West, you can only get it in the West. Actually, I think they probably ship it now, but oh my gosh. It's honeycomb calcite is really lovely. It's a yellow, and I love honeycomb calcite. It's one of my most favorite. It also is very joyful. That's a good one. Tiger's eye, amber, and then of course like clear quartz you can use at any time of your life. You can throw clear
Very
quartz in
versatile.
there. Super versatile. You can do it for anything. And of course, you know, candles, stuff that reminds you of fire. And then, you know, you can do, if you are someone who has different deities that you like to work with, oftentimes it's sun gods at this time, like Helios or Apollo, or but Bridget is good too. She's a good one for this time of year as well, if that's what you like to do.
What are some good herbs?
Well, the big herbs for this one is St. John's wort. That's the biggest one because it's all about protection, sun magic. Have you worked with St. John's wort?
No, but I'm pretty sure it blooms around this time typically, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. St. John's wort is that really protection. It's actually very good for men too, like masculine energy and stuff. It can be really healing for a number of things, but it's really good for their hormones. Of course, mugwort, which we talked about before, but it goes with that seeing far ahead. Chamomile is out at this time, and then calendula. I love calendula. Calendula, lavender, rosemary, thyme, vervain, blue vervain. If you're having a hard time chilling out, blue vervain is a good friend for you. And then mint and sunflower, those are the big ones. Any herbs you two want to talk about, or do you want to talk about any of those?
Well, when you mentioned calendula, I kind of got excited a little bit because I have some dried calendula that I've been using when I like soak my feet as this like I don't know, very nourishing practice of taking care of myself. And calendula is very much associated with the sun. And so there's kind of this element of like, I don't know, almost like masculine protection that comes into the experience of that soak when calendula is involved. And it's also really good for your skin. So there's that. So if anybody wants to try soaking their feet in Epsom salt and calendula petals, like I highly recommend it. It feels amazing.
That is so good. I've heard so many good things about calendula, and I think it's very forgotten. So thank you for bringing it up. Thank you. It's so good. So good. The one thing I wanted to bring up here is has to do with St. John's wort, has to do with the sun, has to do with sunstone. is that there's the concept of the summer blues, right? And so many times people get into like a weird little depression and it's like, why am I, not feeling my best? And it's bright and sunny out. And the reason that St. John's wort and sunstone work with bringing up your mood is because they're highlighting the places and spaces in your heart where you're hiding like stuff, right? There's just like some shadow stuff or grief or whatever it is. It's just hiding and they just bring that to the surface. So if you feel like you need to cry more, and it is the transition into the Cancer season, and Cancer is about highly emotional and like what is going on here and let's heal stuff, and that back and forth between extreme vulnerability and extreme protection. So just kind of paying attention to your mood and your emotions, and don't expect yourself to feel a certain way, because it's really common that when the light is higher, now you have actually more energy to like more input, right? Like light input to find those spaces and places that previously you just like couldn't deal with. So give yourself permission to be like vulnerable in that way. The sun is also very much about vulnerability and being able to be vulnerable because it actually matters, and not because it's like, oh, I'm just going to go walk around and like spill my guts everywhere. It's about like there is a vulnerability that the sun evokes on purpose from us, and it also has to do with like that masculine feminine balance, where because there's so much masculine energy, the feminine has permission to relax, has support to relax. There is an abundance of masculine energy to be able to neutralize the shadow feminine that needs to kind of come out, or the shadow whatever that needs to come out and be neutralized. So is that in Litha specifically? Probably. It has a lot more to do with the solstice itself and how it behaves within our bodies, though, I think. Anyways, that's my rant. I don't remember what I said anymore because I just like went to a different place.
It was really good. It was much
Thank you.
needed.
Yeah, I think that's actually perfect for Litha because we do want to be careful. We always assume that everyone's happy in the summer and they're sad in the winter, and that's just not the case. But these like herbs are here to support us with those pieces and like what's happening in the sky, and that's why we do these traditions, to help us with these pieces and difficulties that we may or may not be having. So I thought that was a perfect tangent. And I have a other tiny tangent, if that's okay.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear it.
It's not even that, it's not like that great of a tangent. I just wanted to mention, because I mentioned it with the two of you, but when we were talking about things to do, like in a lot of cultures, especially in the northern cultures, this like summer is the time where the fairies come out. All the fae are around. And it's like fun, and it's fun summer, like fairy magic time. So, like, something you could do is for this, if you wanted to, get your magical fairy self on, is to do a fairy garden. You could create one with your kids, or like make little fairy houses to help them. And if you have little kids who you're like, I don't know if they'll understand this, and I don't know if we can have a fire, you could always like paint sun symbols, or like craft something, or make like the little fairy house out of popsicle sticks, like make the popsicles, eat them, and then like make a fairy house out of the leftover popsicle sticks. That could be super fun. Or like just dance around, in your kitchen, like I said, because kids really, along with what we were saying about us maybe having some trouble in this season, or like the things that we need, kids need the celebration too. They need that. It's a lovely time for them to shine, and allowing all of ourselves. And this is a great time for your child self to come out and play. The summer, we all talked about in the summer, what do you do? And we all talked about in the childhood, this is what I did as a kid. So this time, Litha, is a great time for your inner child to come out, and for you to do fun inner child things with your inner child. Don't forget about that, and in all the play. Let yourself play.
Speaking
Yes.
of plays, if you happen to be a fan of Shakespeare, the play A Midsummer Night's Dream is all around this idea of midsummer, of Litha, of fairies, of things being a little bit magical and maybe a little unexpected because the fairies are out and about.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually love that play. Like the whole concept, the whole aesthetic of that fairy foresty stuff was the aesthetic for my wedding reception. So I like love it so much.
Sounds so fun. Oh, to go back in time and see your wedding reception would be lovely.
She looked like a fairy. I stalked her. I stalked her on Facebook, and her dress and everything, her look, I was like, "Kaylee's a fairy princess." And she looks just like this ethereal fairy princess the whole time.
Yeah, that was the
Amazing.
whole aesthetic because I loved that idea of the combination of the natural world and kind of like mystical, magical, like glistening elements. So there were like crystals and lots of plants. And yeah, my dress had flowers on it, like actual colored fabric flowers that my grandma made. Like, yeah, there were feathers, all kinds of fun things, like peacock feathers. It was a great day.
That sounds amazing.
That's a Pisces wedding for you. That's what it is.
And
That's
my
what it is.
husband and I both have our son's in Pisces, so it's fitting.
Perfect. What is something that you guys want to leave everybody with Litha and the solstice and the sun and anything else? We could just talk about feathers some more too.
Just let yourself shine. That's what I like. Allow yourself to shine. We've been doing so much work. I feel like we've been doing so much work and working hard. And this, I mean, yeah, you are doing a lot of work in the summer, like when the sun's out more, right? That's our doing time. We're in more of the masculine state of doing. And, but like, it's okay to let yourself, like, take away the doing for a second and like allow yourself to soak in, like, you did it, you shined and you did the shining thing, and let yourself be shiny and be okay with that. I guess we'll probably talk about that again when it's Leo season, because it's very apt that that is coming right up. But I think it's a good time to be okay with your accomplishment and allow yourself to not feel shameful or guilty for talking about the good things you've done.
I would just offer an invitation to everyone listening to give yourself permission to play and have fun in the way that actually is fun for you, not the way that you think you're supposed to have fun. I'm just thinking about a recent experience I had where like almost everybody else around me was like partying it up, being loud and raucous and crazy, and which is fine and great. And I can be that way. And it's fun sometimes. But most of the time, fun to me is a little bit more quiet. It's conversations with people about fascinating subjects. So of course I'm on this podcast. And it's not so big and loud. And so this is me saying, like, whatever your fun looks like, let it be your fun, even if it doesn't look like somebody else's.
This is so good. This is so good. I'm going to take a left turn and I'm just going to tell everybody my last words of wisdom are burn something, set something on fire. Just do it. And watch the fire, watch how the fire behave, like something that not like somebody's house, like don't do that. But
Something you
burn
can legally and ethically burn.
correct. Even if it's just like sage leaves or, sticks from your yard. I used to burn sticks from my yard in my mom's house when I lived there in the sandbox. And because kids didn't use the sandbox, they just throw the sand at me and I was done. So I was like, fine, I will just use it as a fire pit. And I learned so much just from looking at fire, just from watching fire, just experiencing that. And also I experienced a lot of clearing when it comes to fire. And this is like the fieriest fire holiday of them all. So burn something, dude. Just do it. Set something on fire.
That needs to be our next slogan on merchandise is burn something, dude.
You look like you need to burn something. Just you'll feel better, I promise.
Burn something, woman. Burn something, woman.
That's good. That's good. Burn something, woman. Well, thank you guys so much for chatting with me this afternoon. And, for those who are listening in the morning, I'm sorry, we recorded in the afternoon. So that's what I'm saying. And I really appreciate you guys. And thank you for all of that. Happy Litha. Happy Litha, everybody. Enjoy your week. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. Please make sure to give us a 5-star rating wherever you are listening and share with someone you know. See you next week.